Good morning. It's early. Just getting my coffee, and I want to chat with you guys a little bit about something. Was on my mind last night, was on my mind this morning as I'm thinking about doing this conference coming up. My first solo speaking gig. I'm pretty nervous. Listen, if you are catching me live, of course, you'll see the little live red square in the top corner there. Say hi so that I know you're here, and tell me what color socks you're wearing. Me, I actually have socks on today, kind of rare. I don't like wearing socks, but I'm taking a walk outside, so put some socks on with my slippers. If you see my story, I actually started walking to the bank with my slippers on yesterday. I don't leave the house a lot. I love that I can work from home, so I was going to the bank in my slippers. Maybe it wouldn't have been a shock, who knows. How you guys doing? Let me put my coffee down. We're going to talk a little bit about negative self-talk. If you're catching the replay, hashtag replay for me so I can circle back around and say hi. A little bit windy out here, but it's beautiful. So we're going to come out here, even if it's a little chilly. Hey, Mel. How's it going? No socks. That's my jam. No socks. I hate wearing socks, even in the winter. Even when it's minus 40, I'll wear my winter boots with no socks. It's a beautiful day, but it's chilly. It's 4 degrees Celsius, so it's still chilly. But it's supposed to climb today, and Wednesday, Thursday, I think is supposed to be 15, 16 degrees. So that's nice. My view for my coffee this morning. It's a pretty nice view, and it's I love the sound of the water. Do you guys love the sound of the water? I love the sound of the water. Let me see if I can get my chair over here so we can have a little talk about negative self-talk. Who struggles with that? Who struggles with negative self-talk? Anybody? Excuse me while I try and sit down here. Woo! Vincent just picked up this chair for me. I love it. It's like a Adirondack rocking chair. Might have been easier if I had a table for my coffee, but I'll just put it on the arm right here, and we'll just go with that. So I think a lot of people struggle with negative self-talk, and not a lot of people talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it today. I'll tell you a little bit of my story real quick. I'm going to get my blankie on. Oh, you can see it's chilly. Put my blankie on. Okay, so I might end up back up inside. It's cold. It's cold. So if you know me, if you've been following me, you know that I did not have a storybook childhood, that's for sure. I grew up with a lot of abuse, every form that you can think of, as far back as I can remember, the age of 2 years old. And there was a lot of name calling, a lot of putting me down. Even when I was skin and bone thin, I was called fat. A lot of name calling. My father was not a nice man. And, you think about, okay, who's supposed to love you the most in your life? Who's supposed to love you the most in your life when you think about it, Did my parents love me? I think my mom loved me. I think she did the best she could. I think she was in the same abusive situation as I was as a wife, not as a child, but as a wife. And I think she tried. I think she did the best that she could. My father, I don't think he loved me. That's my perception of it. Perception is 9/10 of the rule, right? It's all how you perceive things. And, I don't think he did. He was a very, very abusive man. And, it's hard to believe as a child that your father loves you when you deal with that kind of abuse all your life. And, but at the end of the day, when I think about it, maybe he did. Maybe he did. Maybe he did love me. Sometimes, people, not that they can't control their behavior, they make the wrong choices, and they grow up difficult as well. My grandfather was also a very abusive man. I think I'm going to go in the house. But It is cold. So, you know, is it your parents that are supposed to love you the most? Really? If you think about it, is it your parents? Because if I depended on that as a child growing up, I may not be here. Let me see. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to go in the house so that I don't freeze to death. Louise and her french fries on the barbecue. So if I depended on the love of my parents, to feel the love of my parents, I probably wouldn't be here. I was very depressed as a child. I had massive anxiety, PTSD, all the things, all diagnosed at a young age. And so, wanting to be a part of this world as a child wasn't something that was important for me. So growing up, I had to learn different coping mechanisms. And when you live a life of abuse like that from your parents, a lot of times you end up choosing a partner with the same attributes, right? So I basically married a man like my father. I met him when I was 14, and the vicious circle of abuse didn't end. It went from my dad to my partner. And so the abuse went on and on from the age of 2 until I left him finally when I was 31. So almost 30 years of being told that I was useless, worthless, garbage, I'd never amount to anything, all the things you guys know. You've heard it before. You guys have heard them before. You've probably had people call you these things before or call you names before. It's a nasty world when it comes to judgment and people talking down to each other and whatnot. So when I went from being abused by my father to being abused by my partner, something kind of changed at the end because I got very, very sick. I was dying, in fact. And my partner and his family, because his family's also very toxic, his mother, his father, his sister, they all called me a hypochondriac. They told me to get my butt out of bed. I was screamed at on a daily basis because I didn't have the dishes done. But I was legitimately bedridden. I was given a 1% chance to live. I was septic. I was very, very, very sick, dying. And I started thinking to myself, this can't be all there is to life. When you grow up with abuse and you grow up with name calling and you grow up, you believe those things. And you think that this is normal. When that's all you think it's normal. And as an adult, here's where the big struggle comes in. When I left him, I stayed in an abuse shelter. I lost everything. He took everything I ever owned and paid for myself. I stayed in an abuse shelter, and I noticed that the abuse shelter helped you kind of get back on your feet as far as getting a house to rent or clothes on your back or food, whatnot. But there wasn't a lot of empowerment. There wasn't a lot of uplift, and there wasn't a lot of retraining the abused person to understand that all the things that they've been told over the years are untrue. There needs to be more of that. Because here's the thing that I've learned over the years. And the strange thing is it took me being a part of this industry that I'm in now to really, really understand that. Because I've done a lot of soul searching and internal work. Because really this industry is self-development with a paycheck. That's what it is. That's what it is. That is this industry as a whole, is self-development with a paycheck. Let me tell you that, you guys. So here's the real raw fact of it. And you might not like this, those of you that talk badly about yourselves. When you hear it enough, you start to believe it, right? So I left this man. It wasn't easy. It was a lot of work. you know, and I ended up, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. We'll get into that another time. But I left this guy, and I'm trying to rebuild a life for myself and my kids, right? I was homeless with 2 kids. So I'm trying to rebuild my life. And while I'm trying to rebuild my life, what am I doing? What am I doing? You can't do that. You're worthless. You're useless. You're fat. Nobody's going to like you. You're ugly. What am I doing? I'm doing the same thing to myself that my abusers did to me for almost 30 years. So, who's supposed to love us the most? Who's the one person in the world that you should count on and should love you the most? It's not your parents. It's you. It's you. So when we leave an abusive relationship, or we become adults and maybe had some negative talk from our parents, maybe our teacher said something nasty to us, it doesn't have to be a huge negative situation like I went through for almost 30 years. It could have been a teacher that said you were stupid in school in front of the class, even just once. And that will ring in your head for the rest of your life unless you change it. The person that needs to love you the most is you. How are you any better than your abuser if you do the same damn thing to yourself every single day? What makes you any better? Stop. Stop. You choose the way you talk to yourself. And when you go to say negative things or think negative things to yourself, remember, you are somebody's daughter. You are somebody's child. And if anybody ever said those things to my kids, Mama Bear would come out so fast. You are somebody's child. You are the most responsible to love yourself over and above anybody else in this entire world. It is you. The cycle of abuse ends with you. So it's time to make the decision to stop the negative self-talk. It's time to make the decision that, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, don't focus on it. Don't focus on what you can't change. There's something else that I learned, and hopefully this will help you. My hair is just everywhere from being outside. Hopefully this will help you. There's something else that sorry, I have PTSD, so I bounce around a little bit, and I'm sure this whole conference, my very first solo speaking gig is going to go well with my PTSD. There's something else that I learned in life, and it's this. Whatever you're thinking of yourself, I can pretty much bet the people that are seeing you when you go outside, when you go to the mall, when you go wherever, are thinking the same things of themselves. So if you go out and you're thinking, oh my gosh, somebody's going to think I'm fat. Oh my gosh, I can't wear that swimsuit. People are going to stare at me. Oh my gosh, I better put some lipstick on. I better do my hair before I go on live. If you think about it, that's a little selfish, right? When I started to think about it, I thought, who am I to think the whole world's staring at me? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And the people that do care and the people that are going to judge you, I don't want in my circle anyway. But most people don't care because they're thinking about their own flaws that they think exist. And they think you're looking at them. But in fact, all you can think about is your one hair out of place, or the lipstick you didn't wear, or the 20 pounds you gained. Stop. We have one life. Live it. Live it for you. And you are the most important person on the planet that needs to love you. So remember, stop that cycle of abuse in its tracks. Because if you carry it on, you're no better. Take care of yourself. It's really important. Because you have to fill your cup first. Especially sometimes as moms, right? As moms, as partners, you know, we have so much going on, work and bills and, you know, schedules and businesses and all the things. We forget to stop and breathe. We forget to stop and fill our cup. Because we can't pour into others from an empty cup. And when you love on yourself and you treat yourself right and you say good things to yourself, your family sees that. And that's important. Because just as we don't like it if our families say bad things to themselves, they don't like it if we say bad things to ourselves either. It's very, very important because at the end of the day, if you think about it, when someone says things to you over and over and over again, like I said at the beginning of this live, you know, when my ex used to tell me these things over and over, his parents used to tell me these things over and over. I was horrible, I'm this, I'm that, all these, I'm worthless, I'm useless, I'm garbage. They tell me all these things. You start to believe it. But guess what happens when you turn that around and you start talking really good about yourself? And you know that you're worthy. And you know that you matter. And you know that you're beautiful. And you know that people care. Because they do. We just get so busy focusing on the ones that don't. Don't give them the space in your head. They don't deserve it. But if you tell yourself good things over and over, you know what happens? You start to believe it. But you have to start first, even if it's hard. I know it's hard. I promise, I know it's hard. But just start. Get up in the morning and feel good about yourself. Have your happy coffee. Highly recommend happy coffee. It's really helped me in my journey to self-wellness and love, self-love and confidence and all the things. It's really, really helped me. And it's helped me be able to kind of sort and sift and understand the intricacies of it and the ins and outs of it, and come to all these, you know, conclusions of just love yourself and everything else will fall into place. Love yourself and tell yourself nice things every day, and you'll start to believe it because it is true. Surround yourself with people that lift you up, not tear you down. Because you are basically the sum of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. Choose carefully. Because we get to choose our friends who are family. We get to choose that. Okay? So, happy Friday. I do think it's Friday. I get to hop off here because I'm going to hop on my team huddle soon and chat with my team this morning. We do that every morning except for Saturdays. Saturdays are family day for us. I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday. I hope you got some value from this. If you're local, if you're in the New Brunswick area, I would love to have you at my speaking gig, my speaking conference. I'm super, super nervous, and I'm just going to talk. I'm just going to speak from my heart. That's all I know how to do. So, love you guys. Thanks for hopping on.